The Tarr, a name every rancher fears, a creature born from chaos, spreading corruption wherever it goes. But what if I told you the Tarr is necessary? Since the first game, it has been the ultimate threat, something to prevent, avoid, and destroy at all costs. Yet beneath that chaos lies purpose. The Tarr is not just a monster, it's balance. A dark anger tied to the Prisma Core, the heart of the far range. Two forces, light and dark, creation and decay, locked in an endless dance. Without the Tarr, the energy of the Prisma Core would overflow, overwhelming the land and its slimes. And without the core, the Tarr would consume everything, a yin-yang, if you will. A reminder that even in a world as bright and positive, shadows still have their places. First things first, what exactly is the Tarr? A Tarr is born when a larticle eats a plort that does not match either of its slime types. That third plort triggers a violent reaction, twisting the larticle into a dark, oily creature, its rainbow sheen mimicking corrupted slime energy. Once transformed, the Tarr becomes an agent of chaos. It does not eat for hunger, it eats to spread. Any slime it devours turns to another Tarr, multiplying its numbers across the range. Even food and resources decay the moment it touches them. Nothing is safe. If a Tarr cannot feed, its unstable form eventually combusts into a burst of corrupted energy, scattering bits of slime essence into the air. There are, however, ways to stop them. Water is their greatest weakness. Splash them with it and they melt away into harmless goo or explosion, either way. You can also incinerate them or toss them into the slime sea for instant disposal. But here's the interesting part. Some ranchers believe the Tarr's existence is not pure evil. They might be nature's way of resetting the balance, a necessary darkness to keep the energy of the far range in check. The Prisma Core is a form of cosmic energy found deep within Rainbow Island. According to Gigi, this mysterious force did not originate here. It came from space. It crashed onto the planet countless years ago, settling beneath the surface and giving birth to a new ecosystem of color and life. No one knows exactly when this impact happened, before, during, or after the Jurassic period. But some believe it may have been the origin of all life on the far range, a spark of creation, much like Earth's own beginnings. The Prisma Core is a glowing sphere of immense power, capable of turning water into glass, plants into gold, and even bending space itself. It keeps Dreamland and the Great Labyrinth suspended in mid-air, creating its own atmosphere and warping reality so that it's bigger inside than it looks outside. Long ago, the agents discovered this energy. They built the labyrinth to study it, to stabilize it, and for a time, they succeeded. But when humans arrived generations later, that fragile balance was broken. Someone Gigi once trusted began experimenting with the core for selfish reasons, and in doing so, unleashed its true power. The Prisma Core was never evil, only misunderstood, stable yet volatile, silent until humans lit the fuse. At this point, you have probably noticed something between the two. Tarrs are destructive by nature. They consume, multiply, and conquer. The Prisma Core, in contrast, is similar in power, but far more restrained. It does not consume, it manipulates matter. It releases bursts of energy, while Tarrs eventually lose theirs. The Prisma Core gives life, though in unpredictable ways. Tarrs, on the other hand, are easier to understand. They simply exist to devour. In a strange way, these two forces of nature act as yin and yang, balancing one another. Tarr sustain the ecosystem by decaying and consuming, yet once they're gone, life continues to flourish. The Prisma Core nurtures that life, turning the world into a paradise of color and hope. In the first Slime Rancher game, we see traces of what might be the Prisma Core in the form of glass shards. While I cannot confirm if those shards are truly remnants of the core, especially since its concept was introduced much later, it is fun to imagine the connection. Perhaps the PrismaCore is the very life energy of the planet, the source that allows slimes to gain the abilities they have. If that's true, then maybe the Tarr represents its counterbalance, a force of negative energy meant to keep the core's power in check when it grows too strong. Perhaps that is even why Largos cannot eat another plort. Its energies within them are already at their limit, held in a delicate balance between creation and corruption. Tarrs are wild, uncontrollable forces of nature. They cannot be contained or controlled. Attempted to do so only leads to an explosive end. The PrismaCore, however, is quite the opposite. It can't be contained, controlled, and even used. The agent somehow learned to harness its energy, using it to build the incredible structures and technologies scattered across the world. Their exact fate remains a mystery, but their creations serve as proof that the PrismaCore's powers can be used for good, at least when balanced correctly. Yet even one miscalculation can send the ecosystem spiraling into chaos. That is exactly what happened to Gigi. When she trusted somebody driven purely by selfish ambition, their interference with the core triggered an apocalyptic event that reshaped the future. No one knows what became of Gigi's companion, but we do know that Gigi was the only survivor. The shockwave left traces of the PrismaCore embedded in her arm. Through it, she could feel subtle vibrations, hums, almost as if the core itself was speaking to her. Over time, these hums helped stabilize the core once more, suggesting that the PrismaCore can bond with living beings without corrupting them into monsters. How is that possible? Was Gigi chosen for her purity of heart, her consciousness, or something else entirely? Maybe just pure randomness. No one knows why the core chose her, if it chose her at all. Near the end of the game, just before the final boss, Gigi reveals something remarkable. The bells, or harmonizers, emit a frequency that resonates perfectly with the core's energy. Her arm became the key to understanding that connection. But when these energies fell out of sync, chaos follows, and from that chaos, Tarrs are born. In fact, Tarrs seem to appear out of control without any physical slime origin. It is as if they and the PrismaCore are two sides of the same coin, one representing life and the other entropy. And here's something even more fascinating. To activate the hydro shower, you need slimes. Why slimes? Originally, the hydro gadget could be used freely without any sacrifice. You would think adding slimes into the hydro shower would make the tar stronger, but surprisingly, it does the opposite. The explanation is quite poetic in its simplicity. Slimes contain traces of PrismaCore's life energy, while water acts as a purifying force. Together, they create a perfect counterbalance. Tarr relies on slimes to exist, yet they are destroyed by water. By merging the two, life and purification, you create a stabilizing force that aligns with the core's rhythm, restoring harmony to an otherwise chaotic world. At least, that's my interpretation of how it works. Even though the Tarr are seen as evil, they serve an important role in the ecosystem, a force of nature that keeps the world in balance. Their destruction may seem chaotic, but it's temporary. Once the Tarr are gone, the PrismaCore restores what was lost, weaving new life from the ashes. Whether the PrismaCore is the true origin of all slimes is still unknown, but one thing is certain, its energy is vital, a cosmic heartbeat that keeps the world alive. The Tarr and PrismaCore exist in an endless dance, creation and decay, light and shadow, forever balancing one another. But someday, someone will disturb that balance. And when they do, will they use that power for good or for destruction? Only time will tell.